Yes, we have three townlands here. We have Anveyerg, Drumhilla, Drumfreehan. In those three townlands, there's roughly 500 acres of land. Now, away back in what I could picture out or went through was there was about 26 families in those 500 acres. At the last, where we're here now, that man you're after talking to, he has a grandchild which is about a year old. And before that, in Drumhilla here, the last child that was born, if he was alive today, he'd be 106. He was born on the 5th, 1905. And that was the last child that was born in this townland. If you went all through Drumhilla, Anveyerg, where I come from myself, there was only 3 families, three families were Sullivans. Now, there was 12 in my family. There was 8 in the next Sullivan family and 1 in the next. Now, out of the 12, 9 of us emigrated. 9 of us emigrated between 56 and 63 or 4.
And where did they go?
To Northampton, England. There's still 5 of them in England, but 2 of them died. 2 of them buried in Northampton. But if you went through that, it's amazing what has happened to the country. And it seems now we're going back to the same thing again. But there was nobody got married. There was only about three families. And they were the only ones of mine. The rest were all bachelors or spinsters, or brother and sister lived together. Maybe a man lived on his own. Maybe a man and a wife, maybe that had no children. And that's the way the whole thing went. I mean, I walked all round these fields here and all round and gathered blackberries and hunted rabbits, and that was the way. It was a living. I started to work in the tannery at a shilling and a penny an hour, which would be, you wouldn't know anything about it, but that's what. And the tannery was a great. There was a good few people from around here travelled to Ballybay to work in the tannery, but all over there, these people here, they were the main. They were Quins, they were the main men. They owned land from there right up to there, but they were the main people, that they were the money people that lived around here. People walked from here to Latton Chapel to Mass, across the fields. And you were there for maybe Christmas morning for 7 o'clock Mass. There was 3 Masses. All at the one time, so you had to wait for the 3 Masses, and people walked from here. Christmas morning for 7 o'clock, first Sunday morning for 7:30 Mass, and there was a good crowd. All from this country here, all walked across, these people here. There was somewhere down there, just we're not near it now, there was called the 5 lanes, and there was one of them lanes called the Old Dublin Road. That was the old Dublin Road, the road to Dublin many years ago. There's what we talked about John O'Neill was the first man to come in. He bought down here after Owenie. He bought that farm down there where we met this morning there, and there was an old lady lived down there. She was a Maggie Ross, and when she heard John's children playing about, she come up to him and she says, "That's the first child round here in 100 years."
Tell me, can I just go back to, why was it that they went off and they never got married, or they never had fun? Why was that?
Well, that's a good question. It's hard. There probably were people that, they went to town every Saturday, had a few drinks. The fair day was the third Saturday and every day. They would go to town, have a drink, never went anywhere else. That was just, they just never got involved. Or or maybe there was another problem was with people was, you know, maybe I wasn't good enough for you.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time I was good enough for you, I was gone.
Yes.
I was away. Do you see? And that was a problem with a lot of the farmers round. You know, they had to get somebody special. And that was the truth. That's what happened.
So it was between that and sort of isolation, because if you were living on a farm, you hadn't got neighbours that were too near. You maybe had one or two. You weren't socialising with groups all the time. Would that be it?
Well, you weren't socialising with groups because there wasn't that much socialising to be done. There might be a dance of a Sunday night, or some people went to the pub and we went to football matches, and that would be the rubber. But really, that was the bulk of it, like that. You know, and what happened was, the biggest problem happened was the oldest lad stopped on the land. The young lad, he emigrated, which it should have been the other way around.
Yeah.
That was a problem.
Yeah, that made it older and older.
That made it older and older.
Yeah.
Father and mother were there, there was a son there, and he'd have to take a girl in, and maybe the girl wouldn't suit the father and mother, and so they moved on. And that was just the simple facts of it. And
is it like that now? What's it like now? Are there families coming in now?
no.
Is it because it's too hard to make?
No. If you, I guarantee you now, if a farmer went out now looking for a girl, I doubt if he'd get one. They wouldn't. I don't think the girls would be interested in farming.
Too hard a life.
Too hard a life. Well, you look at this land here, like.
Yeah.
You know, could you imagine some young lassie coming in and herding cattle around here? Or,
I don't think so.
That is the problem.
That's the life.
That is the problem, and there's nobody about anyway.
Yeah.
There is a young family coming up over there now. He has 3 children. A nephew of my own, he has 3 children. They'll be about, and another lad that married in the home place, a nephew as well. They'll probably have a family, but
it's only small, scattered holdings.
you see, I don't know how many. He would own. That's my nephew over there. He probably owns now 5 of them farms. 5 of them 26 farms. He would have bought them in bits and pieces, or his father would have bought them in bits and pieces. And that's what has happened round John there. He bought a couple of farms, moved up here from below Bellevue. He bought a couple of farms. And that's what's happened. There's only a few people now that owns the 500 acres altogether.
And that's the way it's going to go.
And that's the way it is. Well, there's some of it not been farmed at all, but that's the way it's going to go.
I know.